Hi, welcome to my channel with Magic Megan. My name is Megan. Welcome, welcome. So the cards that came through today were the card Death and the Star from the Cosmic Tarot deck. And today the message isn't just about endings and beginnings, it's about what stays real while everything around you changes. So here's how this kind of came through. So when I sat down to shuffle, the death card literally jumped out of the deck. It just flew. And underneath it, waiting quietly, was the star. And that combo made me stop. And immediately Spirit said, check the Sabian symbol for today. So I did, and it landed on 5 degrees Scorpio, which is a massive, unchanging rocky shore resists the pounding of the sea. And I sometimes like to pull the Sabian symbols. Sometimes I just use the book and I kind of just will sit with it and flip to a random page. And then sometimes I like to see where the sun is sitting at. And on this particular day, it was at 5 degrees Scorpio. So I'm looking over the Sabian symbol and I'm reading some of the, info on the page. And then there was this line from that page that kind of hit me like lightning. And it said, everything changes but the sea. And that was kind of the tone of today's message, in forming real time. We're talking about change, the kind that's unavoidable, and the parts of you that aren't meant to resist it anymore. So let's start with the death card. We can take a look at it, right? The figure standing tall in what almost looks like a digital wasteland. The sun is rising in a box, but outside that box is a whole universe. Time is broken on the floor. There's a clock cracked in half, a crown tossed aside. Everything that used to represent order or control, gone. And that's kind of what this energy feels like right now. It's not about death in a literal sense, it's metaphysical death, the end of an illusion, a timeline, a belief, a way of thinking that you just can't carry anymore. It's the moment you realize that the version of you who tried to hold it all together isn't meant to be in charge anymore. And I know that some of you are tired. I'm tired too. I feel that. And that's kind of what the energy of transformation does, right? It's exhausting. And Spirit kind of was winking at that uh, sentiment when I then shuffled a song. And so I shuffled through my playlist. I like to do that through the library, through my music library. And the song was I'm So Tired by Fugazi. And it's funny but true. This is what endurance at its breaking point sounds like. It's not that you're weak, it's that you've outgrown the rhythm that used to keep you running. And then so now the Sabian symbol kind of ties it all together beautifully. So you picture that rocky shoreline, right? Solid, heavy, ancient. And the waves just keep crashing over and over. And you can almost hear it, right? That relentless rhythm. And at first glance, it looks like strength. But if you stay with it, you start to see the shadow side. The shore isn't adapting, it's resisting. So the message that Spirit has here is this is what happens when we confuse endurance with evolution. The rock thinks it's surviving, but it's really eroding, slowly, quietly, over lifetimes. And that's exactly where many people are right now, globally, personally. We've been holding on so tightly to the old world, the old systems, the old versions of ourselves, trying to prove that if we just hold steady, we won't get swept away. But the message here is you can't stop the sea, because the sea is consciousness itself. It's evolution, it's truth, it's God moving through form. So the real question Spirit is asking is, how long can you endure without changing? And that kind of hits, doesn't it? Now, right underneath all of that comes the star card. And this is where things shift, because death clears, but the star restores. The star is the energy of renewal, healing, quiet realignment. In this card, the woman stands under a dark sky, pouring water both into the land and into the pool. One for spirit, one for matter. It's a symbol of flow, of balance, of life coming back after a long night. And here's the key, right? She's not forcing anything. She's not rebuilding the shore. She's simply allowing the water to move. And so right now, that's your invitation, is to stop trying to resist change and start participating in it. Let healing happen in its own rhythm. Let the new direction find you. Death says, let go. And then the star says, now breathe. So for some of you, this might be showing up maybe in your relationships, especially if one of you carries that Scorpio energy, the intense, transformative, truth exposing, and the other carries that Aquarian star energy, visionary, detached, big picture. Together, these archetypes teach each other balance. One purges the false, and the other rebuilds the faith. So if you felt tension, that could be why. You're not at odds. You're playing different roles in the same healing cycle. And if it's not like a relationship that this is talking about here for you, this might simply describe your inner world. One part of you ready to change everything, another part trying to remember what's still worth believing in. And both parts are right. Both parts are sacred. So zooming out here, this is also could be seen as a global message, right? I mean, look around. Everything's shifting. Systems, structures, norms, all being pounded by the sea of consciousness. And what's being revealed is what's real. Death energy is collective ego death. Old control systems breaking down. And the star is humanity's hope trying to shine through. It's messy, it's tiring, but it's working. The message from Spirit here is the rocks will smooth out, the sea will keep singing, and eventually the new world will be built from both. And that's the bigger story you're a part of. So right now, what can we do with this energy? Let's begin to bring it back down to earth for a second, right? So we don't need to fight what's falling. If something is ending, let it. The death card doesn't take what's meant for you. It removes what blocks what's meant for you. All right. And then next, maybe we can rest when we need to. The tiredness isn't laziness, it's integration. You're shedding frequencies, identities, even cellular memories, right? The body needs time to catch up to the soul. So rest when you need to. And then next, maybe don't mistake the pause for failure. So between the death and the star, there's silence. But that's where the new timelines load. The universe is buffering, so let it buffer. And then I want you to remember your constant. So the Sabian says everything changes but the sea. That's your consciousness. That's the unmovable awareness underneath every experience. So when life feels chaotic, you come back to that. The sea in you never changes. So if you've been feeling that push-pull lately, endings, beginnings kind of overlapping, maybe this is your clarity. The message is, it's okay to be tired. It's okay to not know. You're not supposed to be the rock anymore. You're meant to become the wave. Let the tide move through, because the only thing that actually ends in the death card is illusion. The real you, the part symbolized by the star, doesn't die. It shines brighter, especially after everything else falls away. So when life feels like it's breaking apart, remember, it's not punishment. It's precision, like fine-tuning. You're not being undone. You're being recalibrated. The shore will wear you down. The sea will keep singing. And you're the meeting point of both. That's the truth of this season of your life, perhaps. Everything changes but the sea. And the sea, my friend, is you. If this message found you today, take what resonates, leave the rest. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, with magic, Megan. Bye.